Marvel just dropped a bombshell report that Avengers Doomsday will be split into 5 distinct acts, and the rumored runtime of 3 hours and 45 minutes suddenly makes perfect sense. Insiders are claiming this film will make Infinity War look like a warm-up act, with Doctor Doom systematically destroying every hero team before reshaping reality itself. Before we dive into the 5 acts that will bring the multiverse to its knees, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because this breakdown is going to cover the Fantastic Four's arrival, the X-Men betrayal, the TVA destruction, the Doombot invasion, and the villain team-up that nobody saw coming. Will this 5-act structure actually work, or is Marvel biting off more than they can chew? The arrival of Doom. The first act reportedly focuses on something fans have been speculating about since Robert Downey Jr. was announced as Doctor Doom. The Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom arrive on Earth 616 together. Not as enemies, not fighting each other, together. This completely flips the script on what most people expected. We all thought Doom would be the big bad from the first frame, skulking around in the shadows and plotting his master plan. Instead, he shows up with Reed Richards and the rest of the Fantastic Four like they are old college buddies, carpooling to a reunion. The way this reportedly happens ties directly into the Thunderbolts post-credits scene that has been heavily rumored for months now. Multiple sources have claimed that after the Thunderbolts movie ends, we see the Fantastic Four ship materialize on Earth 616. But here is the twist that changes everything. Doctor Doom is already inside that ship. He is not chasing them. He is not their prisoner. He came with them voluntarily. This completely reframes the ending of Fantastic Four First Steps. Remember that empty chair at the council meeting in the trailers? The one that looked like it was meant for someone important but sat vacant? There is growing speculation that chair belongs to Victor Von Doom, and he is not sitting in it because he is off doing something else. What could be so important that Doom would miss a council meeting? Traveling through the multiverse to understand the incursions that are tearing reality apart? Think about the timeline here. Fantastic Four First Steps takes place in an alternate 1960s timeline. That universe is designated as Earth 828, according to leaked production materials. In that film, the Fantastic Four are dealing with Galactus, the devourer of worlds. Galactus wants Franklin Richards because Franklin possesses the power cosmic, the same energy that flows through Galactus himself. Sue Storm watches her son bring her back from the dead in that movie. Franklin Richards is not just powerful, he is reality warping, universe altering, god tier powerful as a small child. Now put yourself in Victor Von Doom's shoes. You are watching the universe start to collapse. You understand science and magic better than almost anyone alive. You see incursions beginning to happen where entire universes are colliding with each other like cars in a cosmic pileup. And you know about a child who can literally reshape reality with his thoughts. What would you do? Doom does exactly what you would expect a genius to do. He figures out what is causing the incursions, he identifies who has the power to potentially fix them, and he formulates a plan. But here is where Doom's manipulation begins. He does not tell Reed Richards the whole truth. He tells Reed just enough truth, mixed with just enough lies to make Reed think they are on the same side. Doom likely explains that the multiverse is collapsing due to incursions. He probably shows Reed evidence of universes being destroyed. He might even tell Reed that certain people in other universes are making the problem worse by messing with time travel and multiversal travel. All of that is technically true, but what Doom does not tell Reed is that Doom's solution is not to save the multiverse. Doom's solution is to control it, to become God Emperor Doom and rule over whatever remains after the dust settles. The leaked concept art that showed up online a few months back proves this is where the story is heading. That art clearly showed Doctor Doom sitting on a throne with Doctor Strange standing beside him in a subservient position. That is not the pose of someone who saved the universe and retired. That is the pose of someone who conquered it. So when Doom and the Fantastic Four show up on Earth 616, Doom is already playing three-dimensional chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The Wakandan trailer that played in theaters recently gives us our first glimpse of this arrival. We see the Wakandans, the Talokanil, and the Fantastic Four all gathered together. They are not fighting, they are preparing. They look like they are getting ready for war. But who are they preparing to fight? That brings us to the most controversial part of Doom's plan. He needs a scapegoat. He needs someone to blame for the incursions. Someone powerful enough that it makes sense they could damage the multiverse. Someone from another universe that people on Earth 616 do not know or trust yet. He needs the X-Men. Think about how perfect this is from Doom's perspective. The X-Men exist in the Fox universe, which, according to reports, is one of the 3 universes involved in the major incursion event in this film. Earth 616, Earth 828, and the Fox X-Men universe are all on a collision course. Doom can spin this any way he wants. He can tell the heroes of Earth 616 that the X-Men are causing the incursions. He can tell them that mutants from another universe are destabilizing reality. He can paint the X-Men as invaders, as threats, as the enemy that must be stopped before all of reality collapses. And the worst part, the heroes will believe him. Why would they not? This guy showed up with Reed Richards, one of the smartest men in any universe. If Reed vouches for Doom, then Doom must be legit. If Reed says the X-Men are the problem, then the X-Men must be the problem. Doom is not just manipulating one group of heroes, he is manipulating all of them. He is turning heroes against heroes while positioning himself as the only one smart enough to see the real threat. This is why Act 1 is so crucial. It sets up the dominoes that will fall throughout the entire film. By the end of Act 1, Doom has successfully arrived on Earth 616, convinced the Fantastic Four he is trying to help, and positioned the X-Men as the fall guys for the multiversal collapse. Everything that happens next stems from this initial deception, but this is just the beginning of Doom's manipulation, because what he convinces the Avengers to do next is going to shock longtime Marvel fans, heroes against heroes. Act 2 is where Doom's master plan kicks into high gear. The Avengers and Fantastic Four fight the X-Men. This is the Avengers vs. X-Men storyline that comic book readers have debated for decades. Except in the comics, it happened because of the Phoenix Force, not because a manipulative dictator from another universe tricked everyone. But here is what makes this fight even more tragic. Nobody actually wants this battle. The Avengers do not hate the X-Men. The Fantastic Four do not have beef with mutants. And the X-Men are not trying to destroy the multiverse. But Doom has convinced everyone that this fight is necessary. He has told the Avengers and Fantastic Four that the X-Men universe is causing the incursion with Earth 616. He has probably shown them scientific data that proves the Fox universe is colliding with their reality. He might have even staged some kind of incident to make it look like the X-Men fired the first shot. And the X-Men, they are probably just as confused. From their perspective, they are minding their own business when suddenly a bunch of heroes from another universe show up and start throwing hands. Professor Xavier is probably trying to use his telepathy to figure out what is happening. Magneto is probably ready to defend mutant kind against what looks like another human attack. And the rest of the X-Men are caught in the middle of a fight they never asked for. The third teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday gave us a glimpse of how intense this fight will be. We saw Cyclops in what looked like a massive battle sequence. His optic blasts were firing, chaos was erupting around him, and the scale looked enormous. But here is the detail that everyone missed. In that same footage, Sentinels were attacking. Not just 1 or 2 Sentinels like in the Fox X-Men movies. We are talking about an army of Sentinels descending on the battlefield like a swarm of mechanical locusts. Now, why would Sentinels be attacking during an Avengers vs. X-Men fight? Because Doom is controlling them. According to insider reports, Dr. Doom uses magical runes to take control of the Sentinels and turn them against everyone. This is the moment where the heroes start to realize something is very wrong. Think about how this plays out. The Avengers and Fantastic Four are fighting the X-Men. Everyone is going all out. Reed Richards is probably trying to reason with Professor Xavier. Thor is probably trading blows with Magneto. Spider-Man is probably wondering why he is fighting people who are also trying to save their world. And then the Sentinels show up. But they do not just attack the X-Men like they are programmed to do, they attack everyone. Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Sentinels do not discriminate. They just destroy. And that is when it clicks for the heroes. Someone is playing them. Someone wanted them to fight each other. Someone wanted them distracted and weakened. That someone is Dr. Doom. This is classic Doom strategy straight from the comics. He does not just overpower his enemies. He manipulates them into destroying each other first. He weakens them, divides them, and turns their greatest strength, their unity, into their greatest weakness. By the time the heroes figure out what Doom is really doing, they have already wasted precious time and energy fighting each other. Some of them might be injured. Some might be captured. And Doom has already moved on to the next phase of his plan. But here is what makes Act 2 so brilliant from a storytelling perspective. It is not just action for the sake of action. Every punch thrown, every blast fired, every shield thrown is a consequence of Doom's manipulation. The fight itself is not the point. The point is that Doom is so good at at lying, so skilled at deception, that he can convince the greatest heroes in the multiverse to do exactly what he wants without them even realizing it. And once the heroes finally understand they have been played, they immediately shift their focus. They stop fighting each other and start asking the real question. What is Doom actually trying to accomplish? The answer to that question leads directly to Act 3, and it involves a location that sits outside of normal time and space. A place where every timeline in the multiverse is monitored and protected. A place that Doom absolutely needs to control if he wants to reshape reality. The Time Variance Authority. Drop a comment right now with your prediction for how Doom takes over the TVA, because what reportedly happens there is going to change the MCU forever. The fall of the TVA. Act 3 focuses on the TVA battle, and this might be the most important sequence in the entire film. The Time Variance Authority has been protecting the multiverse since Loki Season 1 introduced them back in 2021. They exist outside of normal time. They monitor every timeline. They used to prune dangerous branches before Loki freed the timelines at the end of Loki Season 2. And now Loki himself sits at the center of everything, literally holding the branches of the multiverse together with his own hands, or his own magic, or whatever you want to call what Loki is doing at the end of that show. The point is, Loki is the only thing keeping the multiverse from imploding. He is the living personification of the Yggdrasil, the world tree from Norse mythology. Every timeline flows through him. He can see all of time at once. He is basically a god now, and that makes him the biggest obstacle to Doom's plan. Think about what Doom wants. He wants to control reality. He wants to reshape the multiverse into his perfect vision. He wants to become God Emperor Doom and rule over a patchwork planet made from the remnants of dead universes. But he cannot do any of that if Loki is sitting there holding everything together. Loki is literally preventing the total collapse that Doom needs in order to create Battleworld. So Doom has to deal with Loki. He has to either kill him, capture him, or destroy the TVA entirely. Reports from insiders suggest Doom does all three. He attacks the TVA with an army. He fights his way through their defenses, and he eventually reaches Loki himself. But here is where things get complicated. You cannot just kill Loki anymore. He is not a regular person. He is woven into the fabric of the multiverse itself. Trying to kill Loki would be like trying to kill time. It does not really work that way. So what does Doom do? He breaks Loki's hold on the timelines. Some reports suggest Doom actually destroys the TVA completely. He burns it to the ground, scatters the agents, and severs Loki's connection to the branches of reality. When that happens, the multiverse does not just collapse slowly. It collapses catastrophically. Every incursion that was being held back suddenly happens at once. Universes slam into each other like freight trains. Entire realities are wiped out in seconds, and the heroes who are still alive can only watch as everything they know ceases to exist. But other reports suggest something slightly different. They claim Doom does not destroy the TVA so much as he takes it over. He kills or removes everyone in charge, assumes control of the organization, and uses their technology for his own purposes. This version makes sense too because Doom is not an anarchist. He does not want pure chaos. He wants control. If he can control the TVA, he can control which timelines live and which timelines die. He can handpick the pieces of reality that survive and stitch them together into Battleworld. Either way, the TVA falls during Act 3, and when it falls, the consequences are immediate and devastating. There is also a popular theory floating around that some heroes use the Void to survive what comes next. The Void is that weird trash dimension at the end of time where pruned people and objects end up. We saw it extensively in Loki Season 1 and again in Deadpool and Wolverine. If you get pruned by the TVA, you end up in the Void unless you get completely disintegrated. The Void exists outside normal reality, which means it might be one of the few places that survives when Doom reshapes everything. So if some heroes get sent there, either on purpose or by accident, they might be the only ones who remember what reality was like before Doom changed everything. In the comics, only Doctor Strange and Molecule Man remember the universe before Battleworld. Everyone else has their memories altered to believe Battleworld has always existed and Doom has always been God. If the MCU follows that storyline, then the heroes in the Void would be the only ones who know the truth. They would be the Resistance, the last hope, the ones who have to figure out how to undo what Doom has done. But that is getting ahead of the story. First, we have to talk about Act 4 because even after Doom takes down the TVA, even after he severs Loki's hold on reality, even after he starts reshaping the multiverse, the heroes do not give up. They fight back. And what happens next is one of the most visually insane battles the MCU has ever attempted, the Doombot invasion. Act 4 is titled Avengers vs. Doom vs. Doombots and Sentinels, and just reading that sentence should tell you how absolutely bonkers this section of the movie is going to be. Let's break down what is reportedly happening here because it is not as simple as just a big fight scene. Notice the report says Avengers vs. Doom vs. Doombots and Sentinels. It does not say Avengers vs. Doom and his Doombots and Sentinels. The word versus appears twice. That implies Doom is not actually fighting alongside his Doombots and Sentinels in this sequence. He has sent them to do something while he does something else. And based on previous leaks and reports, we can piece together what is happening. Doom is splitting his forces. He is attacking on two fronts simultaneously. On one front, an army of Doombots and Sentinels attacks Earth 616 directly. Multiple sources have claimed there will be a massive attack on Wakanda specifically. The Wakandans, the Talakano, some of the Avengers, and some of the Thunderbolts are all forced to defend against this invasion. This is not a small skirmish. This is an all-out assault. Doombots are pouring out of portals. Sentinels are raining from the sky. Vibranium weapons are clashing against magical armor. Namor is probably fighting underwater. Shuri is coordinating the defense, and heroes like Bucky Barnes and Yelena Belova are doing everything they can to hold the line. But here is the key detail. This attack is a distraction. Doom does not actually care if the Doombots and Sentinels win. He just needs them to keep half the heroes busy while he does what he really came to do. And what is that? He is going after Loki. While half the Avengers are fighting for their lives in Wakanda, the other half are racing to stop Doom from reaching Loki's location. Because if Doom gets to Loki, it is over. Loki is holding together every timeline that still exists. If Doom severs that connection or kills Loki or even just disrupts what Loki is doing, the entire multiverse implodes. Every reality collapses into nothingness, and from that nothingness, Doom can create Battleworld. So you have two massive battles happening at the same time. In Wakanda, heroes are fighting an endless wave of Doombots and Sentinels. And wherever Loki is, probably some cosmic location outside normal space, other heroes are trying to stop Doom himself. And both battles are desperate. Both are brutal. Both are fights the heroes are losing. Because here is the thing about Doom. He is not like Thanos. Thanos was powerful because of the Infinity Stones. Take away the stones and Thanos is just a really strong alien warlord. Doom is different. Doom is a genius inventor. He is a master sorcerer. He is a tactical mastermind. And in this movie, he apparently has god-level power even before he creates Battleworld. Reports claim Thor fights Doom one-on-one and gets absolutely destroyed. Not a close fight. Not a battle where Thor almost wins. Thor gets stomped. If Doom can beat Thor that easily, then almost nobody can stand against him in single combat. The only way to stop Doom is with teamwork, strategy, and probably some kind of magic or science trick that Doom does not see coming. But even that might not be enough, because while the Avengers are fighting Doombots in Wakanda and fighting Doom in space, Doom is also dealing with his own variants. Remember, Doom is not the only Doom in the multiverse. There are other Victor Von Dooms scattered across different realities. Some reports suggest Doom has gathered a group of his own variants to help him initially. Maybe he promised them power. Maybe he convinced them they would rule Battleworld together. Maybe he just lied to them like he lied to everyone else. But at some point, Doom betrays his own variants. He kills them or banishes them or absorbs their power, because there can only be one Doom. This Doom, the Robert Downey Jr. variant, refuses to share power with anyone. Not with other versions of himself. Not with heroes. Not with villains. Not with anyone. He will be the sole ruler of whatever reality remains. And this is the moment where both the heroes and the villains start to understand what Doom really is. He is not a hero trying to save the multiverse. He is not even a villain trying to conquer it. He is something worse. He is a god who believes he is the only one capable of ruling. And if you are not useful to him, you are an obstacle to be removed. This realization leads directly into Act 5, where something happens that has never happened before in the MCU. Heroes and villains look at each other across the battlefield and make a choice. Do we keep fighting each other, or do we team up to stop the guy who wants to enslave all of us? The Unholy Alliance. Act 5 is called Avengers and Villains vs. Doom, and just let that sink in for a second. Villains are teaming up with the Avengers, not because they suddenly became good guys, not because they had a change of heart, but because Dr. Doom is such an overwhelming threat that everyone realizes he has to be stopped. Think about how rare this is in the MCU. Loki eventually became an anti-hero, but that took years of character development. Thanos never teamed up with the Avengers. Ultron never joined forces with Tony Stark. Villains in the MCU usually die
die, get imprisoned, or disappear. They do not team up with heroes to fight a bigger bad. But Doom is different. Doom is not trying to kill half the universe like Thanos. He is trying to rule all of it. And that is arguably worse. If Thanos wins, at least half the universe survives. If Doom wins, everyone becomes his servant. So who are these villains that team up with the Avengers? We do not have confirmed names yet, but speculation is running wild. Some people think Captain Hydra, the evil Steve Rogers variant from the comics, will appear. There have been whispers about that for months. The idea is that Doom might recruit an evil Captain America variant to his cause, but then that variant realizes Doom is not interested in Hydra's goals. Doom only cares about Doom's goals, so Captain Hydra turns on Doom and helps the real heroes. There is also a popular rumor about King Thanos returning. King Thanos is the older, more powerful version of Thanos from the comics who killed everyone and ruled over a dead universe. Some insiders claim we might see a variant of Thanos who survived the snap in another timeline and became even more dangerous. But when Doom shows up and threatens to erase that Thanos from existence, even King Thanos realizes he needs to work with the Avengers temporarily. Then there are the Kangs. Yes, plural. We know Marvel had big plans for Kang the Conqueror before the Jonathan Majors situation derailed everything, but the multiverse is still full of Kang variants. Some reports suggest Doom has already killed most of them. Some suggest he absorbed their power, and some suggest one or two Kang variants might survive and reluctantly help the heroes because Doom destroyed their timelines. Imagine how wild that scene would be. The Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and a bunch of villains including evil Captain America, an older Thanos, and maybe even a Kang variant all standing together on a battlefield. All of them looking up at Dr. Doom. All of them knowing they are about to fight someone who is basically a god at this point. And all of them knowing they are probably going to lose. Because here is the thing about Act 5. The heroes do not win. This is not Endgame where the good guys pull off a miracle and save the day. This is Infinity War on steroids. Doom wins. He beats everyone. He reshapes reality. And Battleworld is created. The leaked concept art already showed us God Emperor Doom sitting on his throne with Doctor Strange standing beside him. That is not concept art for Secret Wars. That is Doom after he wins in Doomsday. By the end of this movie, Doom has accomplished everything he set out to do. He manipulated the Fantastic Four into bringing him to Earth 616. He tricked the Avengers into fighting the X-Men. He destroyed or took over the TVA. He severed Loki's hold on the multiverse. He sent armies to distract the heroes while he seized ultimate power. And he defeated every hero and villain who stood against him. But the fight is not over, because Secret Wars is going to pick up right where Doomsday leaves off. The heroes might be defeated, but they are not dead. They are scattered across Battleworld, a patchwork planet made from pieces of destroyed realities. Some of them remember the old universe. Some of them do not. And somehow they are going to have to figure out how to overthrow a god. This is why the 5-act structure makes so much sense. You cannot tell this story in 2 hours. You probably cannot even tell it properly in 3 hours. 3 hours and 45 minutes gives Marvel enough time to introduce Doom, show his manipulation, reveal his plan, demonstrate his power, and end with his victory. Each act builds on the previous one. Each act raises the stakes. And by Act 5, when everyone finally understands what Doom is and what he wants, it is already too late to stop him. Now let's talk about why this runtime is not just long for the sake of being long, and why every minute of this movie is necessary to pull off the story Marvel is trying to tell. Why this movie needs 3 hours and 45 minutes is a long movie. It is longer than Endgame. It is longer than Avatar. It is longer than most people's attention spans. So why does Avengers Doomsday need to be that long? Because Marvel is trying to do something that has never been done before in a superhero movie. They are introducing a new main villain, making him sympathetic enough that heroes trust him, revealing his master plan, showing him systematically defeat multiple hero teams, and ending with his complete victory, all in one film. Most superhero movies introduce the villain in Act 1, the hero fights the villain in Act 2, and the hero wins in Act 3. That structure works for a 2-hour movie, but Doomsday is not following that structure. Doomsday is following a 5-act structure borrowed from Shakespeare and epic literature. Act 1 is the setup. Doom arrives and positions himself as a hero. Act 2 is the first complication. Heroes fight each other because of Doom's lies. Act 3 is the midpoint crisis. The TVA falls and the multiverse begins collapsing. Act 4 is the second complication. Heroes realize Doom is the enemy, but they are already losing. Act 5 is the climax and resolution. Everyone teams up against Doom and Doom wins anyway. That is not a story you can tell in 2 hours. You need time to establish the Fantastic Four's relationship with Doom. You need time to show the Avengers and X-Men fighting and then realizing they were tricked. You need time to explore the TVA battle and what happens to Loki. You need time to show the Doombot invasion and split battle across multiple locations, and you need time to bring together heroes and villains for one final desperate stand against Doom. If Marvel tries to cram all of that into a shorter runtime, something gets cut. Maybe the X-Men fight gets shortened. Maybe the TVA battle happens off screen. Maybe the villain team up gets reduced to one scene instead of a full act. And if any of those things get cut, the story does not work. The emotional weight disappears. The stakes feel lower, and the ending feels unearned. But there is another reason this movie needs to be long. Marvel has to balance dozens of characters. The Fantastic Four need screen time to establish themselves in the MCU. The X-Men need screen time to introduce themselves to 616. The Avengers need screen time because they are the main heroes. The Thunderbolts need screen time because their movie comes out right before this. Wakandans and Talokanil need screen time because they are defending Earth. And Doom needs screen time to be the main character driving the entire plot forward. If you add up all those characters and all those storylines, you are looking at an ensemble cast that makes Endgame look small by comparison. Endgame had the advantage of building its characters over 11 years and 22 movies. Doomsday is introducing multiple new teams and expecting audiences to care about them immediately. That takes time. You cannot just throw the X-Men on screen and expect people to emotionally invest in them within 5 minutes. You have to give them moments. You have to let them interact with the established heroes. You have to show why they matter. The same goes for the Fantastic Four. Yes, they have their own movie coming out first, but Doomsday is their introduction to the main MCU timeline. Audiences need to see how they fit into this world, how they interact with the Avengers, how Reed Richards matches wits with Tony Stark's technology or Bruce Banner's science. That all takes screen time. And then there is Dr. Doom himself. Robert Downey Jr. is playing this role. That is a massive deal. Marvel is not going to waste that casting. They are going to give Doom as much screen time as possible. They are going to let him monologue. They are going to show his genius. They are going to demonstrate his power. And they are going to make sure audiences understand why this version of Doom is the most dangerous villain the MCU has ever seen. You cannot do that in 30 minutes of screen time. You need Doom to be present throughout the entire film, manipulating in Act 1, orchestrating in Act 2, revealing himself in Act 3, conquering in Act 4, and winning in Act 5. That is a full character arc for a villain, and it requires a lot of runtime to pull off correctly. But here is the part that nobody is talking about. The 3-hour and 45-minute runtime might not just be about cramming in more plot. It might be about pacing. Infinity War worked because it gave audiences time to breathe between action sequences. You had the big opening fight with Thanos on the Asgardian ship. Then you had quieter character moments on Earth. Then you had the fight in New York. Then you had character moments in space. The movie alternated between action and emotion, between spectacle and story. If Doomsday follows that same pattern, then a longer runtime actually makes the movie better, not worse. You get massive action sequences, but you also get time to process what just happened. You get character moments where heroes argue about what to do next. You get strategic planning scenes where someone explains the stakes. And you get emotional beats where characters realize they might not survive this. All of that makes the action mean something. If the movie is just 3 hours and 45 minutes of non-stop explosions, then yes, it is too long. But if the movie uses that time to build tension, develop characters, and earn its emotional moments, then it is exactly the right length. Think about it this way. Endgame was 3 hours and 1 minute long. Most people did not complain about the runtime because every scene felt necessary. The quiet moments in the beginning established where the characters were emotionally. The time heist was fun and nostalgic. The final battle paid off a decade of storytelling. If Doomsday can match that level of quality, then an extra 44 minutes is not a problem. It is a gift. Now, of course, none of this is confirmed yet. The 5-act structure comes from insider reports that could be partially wrong. The 3-hour and 45-minute runtime is still a rumor, and we will not know for sure what this movie actually is until it comes out in May 2026. But based on everything we have heard, based on the leaked concept art, based on the casting announcements and the trailer footage, this 5-act structure makes perfect sense. It is the only way to tell a story this ambitious. It is the only way to introduce this many characters. It is the only way to make Dr. Doom feel like a legitimate threat. And it is the only way to end the movie with Doom winning and audiences still feeling satisfied. Because if Marvel pulls this off, if they actually deliver a 3-hour and 45-minute epic where the villain wins and reshapes reality, it will be one of the most ambitious and daring blockbusters ever made. And that brings us to the real question. Will Marvel actually have the guts to do it? Will they let Doom win? Will they end this movie on a dark note and trust that audiences will come back for Secret Wars to see the heroes eventually triumph? Or will they get cold feet and give us a safer, more traditional ending where the heroes win and Doom gets defeated? What do you think? Drop a comment with your prediction. Do you think Marvel will let Doom Doom win, or do you think they will play it safe? And do you think a 3-hour and 45-minute runtime is too long, or is it exactly what this story needs? Let me know your thoughts, because this movie is either going to be a masterpiece or a beautiful disaster, and I genuinely cannot tell which one it will be yet.